talk today with Jake Hellenkamp to talk about the River City Skate Park in South Park. Hi, Jake. Welcome to Community Conversation. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and how the River City Skate Park came to be?
I can. My name is Jake Hellenkamp. I work at Seattle Neighborhood Group, and we're a nonprofit that's focused on community safety around Seattle. And I got first connected with the River City Skate Park folks in 2018, I believe. I was working on a community safety project at the 8th and Cloverdale intersection nearby, and I, in my communications with some of the neighbors and stakeholders nearby, was asking about some of the places that are underused or don't feel safe. And some folks had mentioned that the skate park had a history of some crime and negative activities. So I connected with some of the group that was stewarding the park for many years and started asking them, like, what is their long-term plan to address some of these issues? And they basically said, we'd love your help to make some improvements to the park and make sure it's a place that young people and community members feel safe at. And so from there, we started building up our committee of skaters and neighbors and trying to develop a game plan for how we can make some improvements at the park. And so over the course of a couple years, we developed a plan, and we'd planned to start our fundraising for this project in early 2020, right as COVID hit. And we decided to sort of put it on pause because there were so many other needs that were coming up that were more important than developing the skate park. And so at the end of 2020, we said, all right, let's just do it. We're going to write a grant to the Duwamish River Opportunity Fund. And we got some seed money to get this thing started. And in the last 9 months or so, we've gotten quite far in terms of making some improvements to the park and getting the next phase ready to go.
That's really phenomenal. That's really awesome. Can you tell us a little bit about how community involvement had to help to shape this skate park?
Mm-hmm. So to backtrack for a minute, the idea for the skate park started in 2005 when there were a few students from the South Park neighborhood that were told they couldn't skateboard at the elementary school there. And so they put together a plan, and they approached the South Park Neighborhood Association and talked to CMAR, who owns the property that was at that point a vacant lot. And they put together this business model and said, here's what we want to do. We want to build a skate park here, and here are some of the funding sources we have in mind. We just need your support to use the land. And so they brokered a deal, and CMAR said, okay, you can have this land and use it for the next 30 years, no cost. And so once they had that permission, they went out and started raising money. So that's kind of the origin story of this skate park. It was built in 2010, what is there existing right now. And then a couple years ago, when we decided that we wanted to make some additions to the park, we were asking community folks, what are the things that would make you want to use the park, would make you feel safer at the park? And a lot of the things that they came up with were, we need a place where beginners can skateboard, because what is currently there is for really experienced skaters primarily. And it is, there's nowhere to sit. We have some issues with landscaping and trash. There's a back corner that's kind of hidden. And so we've been trying to check off all these different complaints that have come up one by one with an actual solution. And so we've got a pretty comprehensive long-term vision for how to address all these different things. We've got a steering committee that is focused on different pieces of those interventions. And yeah, so as we started to collect feedback from the neighborhood, we started talking with folks that are skateboarders, people that live right next to the park, youth groups in the neighborhood, the South Park Neighborhood Association, Concord Elementary, people that we want to use the park that are not at the moment. And so through that process, we've ended up creating all these new partnerships that are really exciting. We've got one right now. It's being paid for by Duwamish River Opportunity Fund between Concord Elementary and Skate Like a Girl. So they are, as part of our project right now, offering skateboarding lessons to South Park youth. And they get to participate for free. They get all the skateboards and helmets and pads and everything they need, so that when our skate park additions are done, we've got all these kids that are ready to go and have the foundations of skateboarding and have new equipment so they can go out there anytime they want to. Let's see, some other partners. We've been working with Duwamish Valley Youth Corps to do landscaping at the park every month. And that's a local or green jobs training initiative for South Park area youth. They've been great to work with. We have a bunch of artists that come out and paint the skate park. There's really cool graffiti and murals all over the place. And so we've been working with Art Primo and Urban Artworks and some other local artists to make an arts plan at the park, which we'll be unveiling our first step of that at our opening ceremony, which is going to be happening August 22nd. So yeah, we've got all sorts of really interesting things that we've been working on, and we're really excited to have it all come together at the end of the summer.
Yeah, so many improvements are in the works for the skate park. And you talked a little bit about landscaping and green features. I think there was some talk about putting in a green wall of sorts, as well as maybe some green stormwater infrastructure, as well as tree preservation. Can you maybe talk a little bit more about those?
Yeah, so people may not know that South Park is a neighborhood that has experienced quite a bit of environmental injustice at the hands of lots of industry nearby. There's air quality issues, there are noise issues, there are water contamination issues, soil contamination. So it's a neighborhood that people are very, very aware of the environment around them and are trying to do their best to repair it and take good care of the land. So as we started talking to neighbors about what are the things that they'd like to see at the park, over and over again, people said, don't take away the trees, don't add a whole bunch of concrete unless you can deal with the drainage on site. Make sure that there's a sound buffer. So we got lots of feedback from folks about making sure that considering the environment was a really important component of our plan. And so we've been working with Dirt Corps, which is another green job training organization, and they put in our green wall on the east side of the park. That went in at the very end of 2019, and it's really, really cool, one-of-a-kind design that replaced a broken down chain link fence there. So it's a huge improvement. And they are also going to be working on our rain gardens that we're putting in as part of our skate park expansion this summer. So they'll be putting in 2 rain gardens and a berm along the green wall that will help with our water retention on site. And yeah, so as part of that, what we're hoping to do is to raise some additional money so that we can do a rain garden tutorial class for South Park and Georgetown folks that want to learn how to build their own rain gardens, or perhaps get a job doing that. So as our rain gardens are being built, Dirt Corps will be teaching a class and giving hands-on experience to the folks that are going to be taking it. So we're trying to, with everything we do, make sure that we are also considering the environment and considering job training and trying to keep the money in the community as best we can.
You've talked about so many different community partners for the project, and it sounds like South Park has an amazing array of groups. You've talked about the Duwamish Valley Youth Corps, Skate Like a Girl, Dirt Corps, and so forth. And that's pretty amazing. And I understand that the park will also have a welcoming area for community event and the like, kind of like maybe a front porch, if you will, for the skate park.
Mm-hmm.
Can you share what that might look like?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So part of our reasoning for developing this sort of more open, accessible, inviting area is that the current bowl, as it is, everything is sort of faces inward. It's got a really unique design, and I highly recommend that people go check it out because it's a piece of art. It's world renowned. People actually come from all over the world to this park to come check it out. And with that said, it feels a little bit closed off to people that are not skaters. So folks will come in there to take pictures or walk a dog or something, but it's not a place that is really amenable for people to hang out. So what we're trying to accomplish with this phase of the project is to add a new section of the park that is primarily a flat slab that will be, number one, ideal for people that are beginning to learn how to skateboard. Number two, useful for non-skaters. So there will be space there for people to set up tables or tents, or there will be some seating options. Longer term, we have some other things that we have in mind. We'll be putting in a welcoming sort of paver pathway that connects the Cloverdale Street sidewalk to the new skate plaza, doing some landscaping. So we're trying to make it feel like a place that anyone can go use, anyone will be safe, and is not just for the best skaters around. So that's our big picture goal.
So you're basically trying to help bring the community to the skate park, to enlarge it beyond the skate park or skateboarding
Right.
community.
So as a community safety strategy, looking at ways to bring people in and occupy the space for positive uses is one of the best ways to address negative activities on site. So we want to make sure that kids and families feel welcome at the park, are coming out there regularly, and that'll help deter some of the negative activities that have happened in the past.
That sounds terrific. I'm wondering how the park will be maintained. I'm sure people hope that it will have a long life and become a South Park institution and community asset. Will there be some sort of community stewardship group for the park?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the Friends of River City Skate Park have been maintaining the park since it was built, and it's been sort of a loosely organized effort. Whenever there's some sort of event coming up, or whenever the grass is growing too tall, we'll put a call out for volunteers and have a bunch of people show up with lawnmowers and weed whackers and all the tools that we need. It hasn't been a great, I think it's been a challenge sometimes doing things like that with volunteers. And that's part of the reason that we used our draft money to pay the Duwamish Valley Youth Corps to be out there every month this year doing it regularly. And we would love to continue paying them to do that. We don't currently have money lined up long-term for that. And I will also add that with the additional concrete that is going in, there is going to be far less landscaping to do than there has been in the past, which we are very much looking forward to. Because
Sure.
those weeds out there grow very fast.
The River City Skate Park is an amazing park and a project. It seems like it's an ongoing project, kind of like maintaining and improving a house or multifamily building. There's a lot of upkeep to be done. And I think that you've brought your phenomenal community organizing background to your role as a lead for the improvement to the River City Skate Park. And you have background working for a Seattle neighborhood group and other nonprofit, and as well as city government. I'm wondering what tips from the River City Skate Park project and other projects you've worked on would you offer people who want to improve their community or their neighborhood?
Good question. For folks that are in South Park and Georgetown, the Duwamish River Opportunity Fund is a great funding source. It's one of the more flexible opportunities out there, and it's also specific to the region. I think one of the trickiest things for me during this process has been the fundraising piece. Number one, because the park is owned by CMAR, it's on private property, so the city is less likely to be able to fund stuff that's on private property. So that in itself presents a lot of challenges. It's one of those things that these projects definitely take time, but to do it well, you need to have a lot of community buy-in, and that takes a lot of time and, you know, trust, relationship building. So I would say with a physical space improvement project like this, take your time, make sure you have a good committee with experts that have a range of different backgrounds, and develop a solid plan. And then you want to check in with community on several occasions to make sure that what your ideas are, that your ideas are lining up with what they would like to see, and that you're sort of working together with community and with stakeholders to have a good final product. It's tempting a lot of the time to see a problem or see something that you would like to work on and just dive into it full steam ahead. But I think it rarely works out well if you're doing it that way. These things are slow and meandering often. So I would say follow the community's lead, be flexible, and reach out to the city if you need some assistance, because there are ways that the city can help out. We've had a few different City of Seattle departments chip in small ways for our project, even though it is on private property.
Jake, you have shown an incredible amount of determination and persistence and creativity in your work on the City Skate Park. And I think the improvements that are being made and will be coming to the skate park will reflect all of that, as well as the incredible work that's being done with other skate park partners like the Duwamish Valley Youth Corps and Dirt Corps, and other community members and businesses throughout South Park. South Park is, in my view, an amazingly energetic and resourceful community. It has a lot of needs, and there are a lot of disparities. Yet at the same time, the people there have an amazing energy and determination to do right by the South Park community. And I think we all see that in your work with the River City Skate Park. Can you talk about the long-term future of the skate park?
Mhm. Yeah, so Grindline built the park. Grindline Skate Parks built the park in 2010, and they had always figured that that initial bowl was going to be one phase of the skate park, and then the steering committee group had not really had capacity to come back to it and do fundraising until fairly recently. So we circled back to Grindline and said, hey, we want to, add some more features to this park. We've got an idea about doing this flat section for beginners, and we would love your help. And so we started to think about best case scenario, what do we want to see at this park? So they have a conceptual design that sort of builds out the skate park to the boundary of the property. What we're able to do this year is add just the slab on the east side, the rain gardens, some seating, some murals and signage. Longer term, we would love to do a really nice official looking mural wall on the back that can be used for local artists and youth to get training on how to paint murals. We want to add some new fencing along the west side and the south side on Cloverdale Street. People asked for a drinking fountain, so we would love to make that connection. One of the big challenges that we have with our current phase is that we're limited by how many square feet we can add to our concrete surface based on city drainage code. And so if we were going to expand beyond what we're currently doing, we would have to tie into the street drain, which is something like $80,000 and requires us to rip up part of Cloverdale Street, which would be a huge hassle and very expensive. So we have lots of long-term things that we're looking at that would really help round out the park. Lighting is another thing that a lot of folks have mentioned over the years is a necessity at the park for both public safety and increasing its usefulness. So we've been having some conversations with lighting companies to see if they can help provide a design and equipment for that. So we got lots of things in the works that are very exciting, but it's been amazing to learn about skate park construction from Grindline and from the folks that built the park the first time around. And it's been a really fascinating learning experience.
Yes, it's definitely been a fabulous partnership among community people like yourself, Grindline, the builder, and funding partners like local businesses, the City Willamette Valley Opportunity Fund, Willamette River Opportunity Fund, and other community groups as well, like Willamette Valley Youth Corps.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Hey, Ed, forgot to mention, when we came up with our skate design, one of the things that I thought was really, really cool was we put together a materials list for all the things we were going to need. Concrete, rebar, lumber, all the screws and nails, gravel. And so I had this list, and our group said, all right, we've got all these industrial companies nearby. Let's just start asking folks that work in these fields if they can donate for this project. And over the course of a couple months, we've gotten 95% of those materials donated, which has allowed us to not have to raise so much money and spend the money that we do have on paying local contractors to build the skate park, to build the rain gardens. So we're really, really appreciative for the local companies that have chipped in with materials and cash to help us reach our goals.
That's an amazing response from another segment of the community, all the industries and businesses that make up South Park. And so skate park is not just about skateboarders, it's about everybody who can help make the skate park a fantastic place to be and a wonderful community asset. So that's very gratifying.
Mm-hmm.
And so I want to thank you for your time for this interview on community conversations, and wish you the best of luck in your endeavors with the skate park and beyond.
Yeah, thank you, Ed. Happy to talk with you.